movie notes on the Pelican Brief 1993 film to September 2024 viewing. This is a film adaptation of a 1992 book of the same name by John Grisham. I grew up reading John Grisham in Clive Cussler. I think John Grisham entered before Clive Cussler, but I'm not certain about that. And this is one I liked the book and the movie. Though I wasn't an infant reading John Grisham novels. Okay. So this is a fiction film about a female law student who writes a legal brief outlining a possible scenario for the reason of the deaths of Supreme Court justices, and then defends the brief with the assistance of a male reporter. Right? So, you know, the brief might be right because she's being pursued for this brief she wrote. And this is in the vein of a writing exercise because sometimes if somebody writes really important something or comes up with an idea and puts it in writing, like they might be targeted for that. The writing is like so impactful, or the information might be true and people are like, we don't want the truth out there, right? So then they go through means to get rid of it, so to speak. And it's enjoyable. This is a personal copy, part of my DVD collection. And it's so old. I would say it's so old, but it's not necessarily so old because the DVDs could still be designed like this. But it's old enough and long enough, or formatted in such a way that it works a bit like a Laserdisc. If you've ever watched a Laserdisc and had a longer movie on a Laserdisc, I put it in like this, and then about with an hour left of the movie, I actually have to go and flip the disc over to finish watching it. So there's a fun tidbit on that. In watching this and some of the movies from the 1990s, I will say it's kind of interesting to go back through and like on the back burner is like how does this relate to world records and like middle distance events that were, or running in general, that was set in the 1990s. I don't know. There's running in this movie. And this is my Monday to September 2024 viewing of this movie. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. Do I sound robotic yet? No, I made some mistakes in my video description. Well, possibly, yes. You could be the judge of that. And I quite enjoy it. It's a kind of so John Grisham books and then the film adaptations, and this included. I've done A Time to Kill with Matthew McConaughey. That was another film adaptation of a John Grisham novel. I like them. They're kind of like, it's like thriller meets suspense meets crime in the legal world, but kind of how far or what aspect of legal gets highlighted is different depending on the story, and which I really like. Like there's Runaway Jury that highlights a jury, The Firm, which kind of highlights associates and a lawyer firm. A Time to Kill kind of highlights trial and the lawyers and that kind of stuff, and the family and or victims. And then this one kind of highlights school. All right, you're learning, and the lead is a female law student, so it kind of highlights a different aspect in the books. So if you put all the books together, you can kind of get some sort of framework of like, oh, there's a bunch of characters involved in the legal system. So this is kind of from the student perspective of like, what if I make a breakthrough or a discovery as a student? And then what do I do? Oh my gosh, everything that could go wrong goes wrong, and now I have this reporter that I need for help and stuff. But it also has Julia Roberts, Denzel Washington, Stanley Tucci. Yeah, so I enjoy it. In terms of impact, yeah, a legal brief would be well, it's supposed to be a brief, right? So it's not necessarily all of court proceedings, so far as I'm aware. It's a more technical document, right? It's kind of a field specific, so it might be a little bit different than having the format of a book. So like it might be more niche in terms of impact. However, the impact may be greater than a book because a brief, tends to be proceedings that come with that and evidence, whereas a book might just be the book. So there's an authority component with a brief, and evidence component that a book may not ever have. All right. So it's a different piece of writing in that sense. Okay, and waiting, right? Where I'm as a spectator of the suspense playing out, I'm like waiting. I'm like, I can revisit a sequence while waiting, right? And as I wait to be whisked away by my soulmate and or soulmates, I'm going to revisit a sequence that brought up before. So I'm going to do the Cristiano, Jacob, Josh, Leon, Let Sile, Post Malone, David Beckham, Dominique Szoboszlai. Okay, I'm going to add 2 more to that: Kyle Chalmers and Nathan Adrian. Or, so that's 10. Are y'all gonna let Post Malone take my virginity? Right? This is the like ever changing who's gonna take my virginity thing, but not because it's Jacob, but like, okay, what if something happens? Okay, where is my hummingbird man? Jacob, come back, Jacob, come back. Okay. Jacob, save me. Posty's gonna take me. Although he's been taking me every night while I've been in sleep mode, you know, since starting when? 2005, 2006. Taking me to his underground music studio. Every night. No days off. Nights off. Space away loving. Is he gonna, or is my runner gonna come in? I got multiple runners on that list though. Jacob, Josh, and Les Al are all runners. Okay, and then there's the fleshed out list where there's also 3 swimmers, right? So, okay, point being, Post Malone stays the only singer on that list, even with the expanded to 10 from 8. And then I was also thinking of this in Eternal Youth. All right, you can watch a lot of things change if you live longer. The Supreme Court justices' deaths might draw even more attention if there's eternal youth, right? If everybody's living longer, then like assassinations would be like even more of a big deal, right? It's like, no, don't you screw with my 2 million year lifespan, man. Right? It becomes even more valuable, right? So the role of Dad, Mom, Grandma Connie, and Danette, and me, and my men, and Kona Dog, and the cookbook. So Dad makes cookbook, Mom works on, and Mom helps with like recipe development, and Grandma Connie too. Mom has a greenhouse where she grows some of the ingredients. Maybe Grandma Connie helps with recipe development and tasting, and of course Dad and Mom too. But Danette, me, my men, and Kona Dog are all key contributors in the tasting of recipes category. Even if any of them fake their own death, and we have to entice them back. So if they fake their death, you know, between now and that playing out, if that plays out, something like that plays out, you know, we'll find a way to bring them back into society, you know, kind of thing. Eternal youth for Grandma Connie and Danette, aged to 50s. So mom and dad's the 40s. Grandma Connie and my aunt Danette, age of 50s, and then me and my men are 30s. So, and for Grandma Connie, a good working heart, and for Aunt Danette, a good working butt. For Kona, he wants a shiny coat and his freeze age to be about where he is at. He's currently about 5 years of age. My parents got him in October 2021. He was about 2.5 years old then, so it's a little under 3 years later. So he's about 5 years old. So there we go. That's what I thought about during this. But again, writing exercises, it really highlights the importance of a brief, a legal brief, or potential importance, and then the kind of bottom of the pipeline, so to speak, to being a lawyer or a justice or something of that, which is the law student. So there we go. This is my movie notes on the Pelican Brief, 1993 film to September 2024 viewing.